Number two, the stakes of foregoing empirical inquiry are potentially quite severe. And therefore, I think that cutting off an important potential resource for informing Canadian foreign policy may be leaving us with huge gaps in our knowledge and in our international heft. We believe that it's best to identify the capacities and the skills and the particular areas of expertise of Canadians that come from different parts of the world with connections to different conflicts, and compare ideas that they generate against the straight edge of Canadian values. I've talked about the constitutional documents and other source instruments for identifying Canadian values. They delineate a straight edge. Let's compare policy ideas to that straight edge and then measure the difference. And we also think that it is just inherently flawed to automatically and ex ante exclude inputs from certain Canadians, including diaspora Canadians, into foreign policy decisions. So an empirical approach is best. We also think, third reason, that including more citizens in the formulation of foreign policy is consistent with Canadian values. I don't know if you all have your favorite section of the Charter. Mine is Section 27. The fact that we have said that the Charter shall be interpreted in a manner consistent with the preservation and enhancement of the multicultural heritage of Canadians, that actually rocks my world. So, and just to finish, because we're called the Mosaic Institute, if every citizen is an essential tile in the Canadian mosaic, then by definition, to exclude certain tiles from the dialogue or the discussion about the content of Canadian foreign policy means that Canada's foreign policy, like the mosaic, is inherently unfinished and incomplete and unrepresentative. And then finally, including diaspora Canadians in the making of foreign policy, we believe encourages attachment to Canada and may help to speed the process of integration. Meanwhile, exclusion can breed disaffection, can actually strengthen people's sympathies for non-Canadian values and actors. So I'm going to whip through some of the programming that we've been doing. On Sudan, we were approached by the Department of Foreign Affairs a couple of years ago to help them better understand what to do in that country. Do you know that we've spent about $850 million in Sudan as a country since 2006, in Sudan, one country. And the Department of Foreign Affairs, to its credit, acknowledged that it did not have a good sense on what Canadians of Sudanese origin felt about Canada's priorities and the delivery of programs in Sudan. So they came to us. We did a large report all across the country, talking to a number of focus groups and doing snowball sampling, and we submitted that final report in November 2009. It is now available on our website. Growing out of that report, the department came back and said, well, we need to consult more with this community, clearly, because they are saying and doing things that are unexpected. For example, regardless of where people come from in Sudan, they all feel differently. They all feel the very same in terms of the importance of indicting President Bashir and pursuing prosecution through the ICC. Didn't expect that. So let's explore more. So last fall, we held a consultation at the University of Winnipeg in anticipation of the referendum on the secession of Southern Sudan that just happened this past January. And CETA participated and DFATE, and we actually had experts from the community sitting on the same panels as DFATE and CETA officials. And that report is also on our website. Sri Lanka, this is very current. Let me just tell you about this. We've just completed something called the Young Canadians Peace Dialogue on Sri Lanka in Toronto, where we brought together a number, about 75 young people from what we call the moderate middle of the Sri Lankan communities in Toronto, Tamil, Sinhalese, and Muslim Sri Lankans. And we struck a committee of young leaders who, in turn, identified moderate friends of theirs from their own respective communities who put together what I think is they put together a stunning program of activities, and we just completed that last week. And just to flash ahead to some of the results, apart from a common statement that will be issued next week that is being delivered to members of their communities that did not participate in the series, the government of Sri Lanka and the government of Canada, they have also started a fundraising drive to raise $25,000 and create 25 water wells in the Vani region of northeast Sri Lanka. This is Sinhalese, Tamil, and Muslim Sri Lankan students have all come together to say, look, geopolitically, we don't all agree on what Canada should be doing in Sri Lanka, but as Canadians, we believe that everybody should have access to water. That's the right thing to do. So they're raising $25,000 with our support and through the facilitation of Rotary International and Rotary South in South Colombo. And finally, let me turn to our project that we are doing with the support of the Department of Citizenship and Immigration as well as the RBC Foundation. This is called the South Asian Canadian Global Citizenship Project in Peel. Peel, for those of you, most of you know, that's the area around Mississauga, Brampton. And we are currently delivering programming to 300 young people in this board, all of them of South Asian background or heritage. And this is programming that seeks to explore the interconnectedness and intersectionality between the values and responsibilities of Canadian citizenship and those of global citizenship. Let me tell you that the response has been off the charts positive. These young Canadians, which is what they see themselves as, have come together to explore for the first time, for many of them, what it means to be a Canadian, how their values as South Asian Canadians are actually reflected back to them in Canadian constitutional documents and in Canada's values. They are thrilled about the prospect of peace building. They are thrilled about the opportunity to help cause conflicts between their communities, both here in Canada and overseas, to abate. They are believers in pluralism. They are believers in the power of peace to confront conflict. So we are measuring all these results very carefully so that we can actually say this much trust was produced amongst these 300 students over the span of 5 months. We are doing 8 community service projects through these students, and we're so excited that come the fall, the Toronto District School Board has invited us to deliver a variation on the same program, and we're now exploring a national model. So I just wanted to share that with you. I didn't fall over, but I really appreciate your patience, and I hope that you'll be able to join us at the round table this afternoon. Thank you.